Well, our next story, I find this really interesting, and for mild personal reasons, but nonetheless, no, because I've said this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Basically, there's obviously sexual assault is one of the big problems in this country, in the military and civilization, in civilian areas. But also in colleges. A new California bill demands verbal or written consent for sex on college campuses. A newly amended bill from a California lawmaker would require college students to stop in the heat of passion and establish a verbal or written consent before having sex. Anywhere on campus, by the way. This would mandate that college students obtain an affirmative, unambiguous and conscious decision by each participant to engage in mutually agreed upon sexual activity. This bill is meant to confront sexual assault problems. According to the language of the bill, however, consent must be ongoing throughout a sexual encounter and can be revoked at any time. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second. So it's ridiculous.
Each stroke, you have to. Do you still want to have sex with me?
Yeah.
Yes. No, but you got to say
going?
yes. So
we're so good.
Yeah. What happens if she's giving him head? Do you still want to have sex? You're getting arrested. You're getting arrested. You see what I'm saying? She can't say yes like that. It's not yes. You going to jail.
I mean, I understand where they're trying to go, but the practicality of this is just. But anyway.
How much of sex in college is conscious, first of all?
Yeah. Well, it continues on. Let me finish this. The existence of a dating relationship between the persons involved or the act of past sexual relations between them should never by itself be assumed. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. To be an indicator of consent. Not everyone is sold on this proposed legislation, however. Attorney Hans Bader argues the language of the proposed law could make ordinary people out to be sexual criminals, which, again, I agree with that. Yeah. Having engaged in sex without verbal consent, supporters of the bill are effectively defining most people and most happily married couples as rapists. The proposed law will require all college campuses to adopt a uniform policy concerning sexual assault, domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking. Schools that fail to adhere to the policy would not be eligible to receive state funds for students,
and
financial
where it
assistance.
Comes back to
right. And by the way, the bill was passed by the state Senate on May 29th by a vote of 27-9.
Wow.
So let me start off here by saying,
first of all, I guess by that, I'm a rapist, and probably everyone that I know is a rapist.
I've said this for a long time. I had an incident.
Oh, I definitely am.
A situation, years ago. I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I said I definitely am too.
This whole show is being hosted by 3 rapists. Okay? I was with a girl, and the whole time as I was taking off her sweater, her bra, which she was helping me with, by the way, she kept on saying, after each item, she was like, we're not having sex, right? I'm like, yeah, sure. Panties come off, we're not having sex. Uh-huh. We're not having sex. All the way until I penetrated her. She was telling me, we're having sex. And of course, she willfully had sex with me. But by the letter of the law, I stone cold raped this chick. And,
yeah, man.
Huh?
You sure you? What's the statute on this? How long ago was this? Somebody gonna see this show and be like, you done fucked yourself up, man. That to catch a predator dude is gonna be the next show.
She was over 18.
Oh, don't
so he has no business. But yeah, I mean, it's like they said. I mean, who the hell keeps on saying,
through the whole, and that's the whole thing, through the entire session. So you're supposed to, we're gonna have sex. Yes, okay. Now, like you said, each article of clothing comes off, you have to reaffirm, we're going to have sex, we're going to have sex. Right. And then when you're actually penetrating it, do you still want to have sex? I'm not asking shit like that when I'm actually inside. That's quite, do you still, unless you're doing something obviously that's uncomfortable, who would have the forethought to think that I have to, that's making it like an automaton, like you got to be a robot in order to have sex like this. And like you said, for couples, now, clearly, like they said, just because you've had sex in the past doesn't mean that, it's all good in the hood and you can just keep doing it.
Right.
But if this is your girl and your routine is, hey, we're going to watch Netflix, drink a little wine, whatever, and get down, and that's the routine, it's been following the same thing, and at no point in time does she protest, you're technically still raping her? I mean, that's insanity. In fact, that they would cut funding.
Yeah.
See, that's
the
wrong
frightening
thing.
shit.
That's the wrong thing. But I think what is on the mind of all of our viewers right now is, who have you raped?
Yeah.
No.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, according to this, a lot of people.
How many people?
I mean, not many. Our mom might be watching.
Is Jane the Ripper over here, ladies and gentlemen?
I mean, if
No.
you're constantly having to ask the whole
Yeah.
time, then
I mean, and then you have to actually, sign, like, what kind of
that's the other thing.
what
I
kind
don't
of
want to
pharmacies? Yeah.
paper trail of people I've had
exactly.
sex with.
Now they
exactly.
can, they have an aggregate of how many people you've actually got down with, on a file somewhere. Half of it looks like pharmacist type because you're like, you're trying to screw and write at the same time. Your shit is all like a Richter scale. So it's like, come on, man. I mean, there's so many flaws with that. I don't know. I understand that you don't want the situations where you have a student, usually a female student, given the Mickey or something like that, and then raped by a bunch of guys and stuff like that. No one wants that, but you can't basically neuter the whole system because of incidents like that.
But it's
It sounds like a
'Cause that's
bullshit
like-
way to cut funding.
Yeah, bullshit way to cut
Yeah,
funding
I mean,
because that's
honestly,
like
let's get down to it.
Yeah, that's
Senators
an
are looking
excuse
for-
to cut funding because
Yeah.
there's no other. I mean, because that is so impractical, and to me, contrary to the way humans move and operate in normal, to use the term normal, sexual situations. If you really have to stop and have to do all of that kind of stuff, then is it really an organic moment?
yeah, but
business.
Yeah, it's a business.
certainly won't be an orgasmic moment.
No, not at all.
But I mean, I think this just goes to, and not to get, because this can be a 6-hour conversation, but, it just goes back to, again, the problems with society and, that women have to feign interest and to make guys work for shit and da-da-da-da-da-da. And of course, they're chastised and ridiculed and slandered for having the same sex drive as, the next guy over here. So, I can't have sex with these 3 dudes, so I got to pretend. And if I got, then that means the guy has to work for it. And then, where does the contract come in? Because it's going to be like, I'm trying on my thing, I'm lying, I'm doing this and da-da-da-da-da-da. And, you have women out there who, again, like this chick I was with, who's like, if I don't say yes, then officially I haven't done anything wrong, even though I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, it's like you said, it's just a transparent way in which to cut funding. I mean, I think all the rest of the stuff is just, I think they even know it's nonsensical. And the fact that it passed by such a wide margin, I mean, that's ridiculous. Because were these people not teenagers? Were they not, young adults? Do they not hopefully still have some sort of relations with their significant other?
Yeah.
I mean, who would adhere to something like that? That's preposterous. Yeah. And if you allow that to pass on that level, then how far can they expand it? Seriously. Imagine if they try to expand it to grown-ups, people outside of college. You're just going to have people riding in the streets with their dicks out. It's going to be ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
I'm just saying.